You know, when we look for life lessons, we usually turn to entrepreneurs or philosophers, right? But today, we're going to dive into the playbook of someone you might not expect, an actress who managed to turn a massive personal crisis into a masterclass on how to take control of your own story. We're talking about Nicole Kidman. And it all really starts with this quote. I mean, wow, it's such a raw, honest thing for a global superstar to say. And it gets right to the heart of her entire journey, this huge gap between how things look on the outside and what's really going on inside. So, picture this. It's the 2003 Academy Awards. Nicole Kidman is up on that stage, holding her very first Oscar for her role in The Hours. This is it, right? The absolute peak, the moment every single actor dreams their entire life of having. But what most of us didn't see was the story behind that incredible smile. This amazing triumph happened just 2 years after a really painful and very, very public divorce. So this win, it wasn't some perfect fairy tale moment. It was an achievement that was literally built on the foundation of some deep, personal heartbreak. And that right there is the first big theme in her playbook. Her greatest success didn't happen when her life was perfect. It grew right out of a fracture, a moment that basically forced her to completely reinvent herself. And this brings us to our very first lesson. Success does not wait for the perfect moment. Her career-defining achievement didn't show up when life was all neat and tidy. Nope, it came when she was probably at her most vulnerable. And that's a huge takeaway for all of us, isn't it? We can't just sit around waiting for everything to be perfect before we make our move. Sometimes our absolute best work comes from our hardest times. So, realizing that success could actually come from a place of turmoil, well, that forced her to completely redefine what a successful life even meant to her. It meant she had to throw out the old script that everyone else had written for her and, well, start writing her own. And just look at the choice she had in front of her. This really gets to our second lesson, having the guts to walk away from a life that looks perfect on paper. She could have stayed in this role as the wife of one of the most powerful men on the planet. But instead, she chose to start all over, on her own as an artist. It's such a powerful reminder that a life that feels right on the inside is so much more valuable than one that just looks good from the outside. And that courage to define her own life, it flowed right into the roles she picked. Which brings us to lesson number 6. She didn't just start chasing the guaranteed blockbusters. Instead, she took a hard pivot into small indie films and pretty risky TV series. She chose projects that spoke to her soul over what was guaranteed to be a box office hit. It shows you that trusting your own gut is way more powerful than trying to get everyone's approval. See, when you decide to carve out your own path, you kind of have to embrace every single part of yourself, especially the messy, painful parts. And it turns out that's where her real power was hiding. And this commitment to her whole self is so clear in our third lesson. Don't let anybody put you in a box. Just look at these roles. She completely refused to be typecast as just the pretty heroine. She actively went after these complex, difficult, sometimes even unlikable characters, proving that real art is about exploring the messy human truth, not just some perfect fantasy. And really, she says it best herself. This is our fourth lesson. Pain can actually be fuel, not just a weakness. She didn't just get through her struggles, she channeled them directly into her characters, giving them this depth that felt so incredibly real because, well, for her, it was real. And of course, as her life changed, her art changed with it. Our 7th lesson shows how she folded huge life events, like becoming a mother, right into her identity as an artist. For her, raising kids wasn't some career roadblock. It was a totally new lens that deepened her understanding of what it means to be human and just made her performances that much richer. So you take all these lessons, using pain, redefining what success means, being your authentic self, and they all build up to the most powerful lesson of them all, taking control and literally writing your own script. Think about it. After winning that Oscar, she could have just sat back and waited for the phone to ring. But she didn't. And this gives us our 5th lesson. Never stop building, even when you're at the top. She saw a huge problem in her industry, a real lack of complex roles for women, and decided, okay, I'm gonna be the solution. And she took real, powerful steps to make it happen. She started her own production company, Blossom Films. She didn't just star in shows like Big Little Lies. She literally willed them into existence as a producer.
In an industry dominated by men, she carved out a space to tell these complicated, female-led stories, proving you don't have to wait for someone to give you permission to create the world you want to see. This brings us to our final lesson, number 8. Kidman had this early image of being the sweet, nice girl, but she had the courage to completely shatter that image with raw, daring, and sometimes really divisive roles. She teaches us that a truly lived life isn't about staying consistent with the person you used to be. It's about having the guts to evolve into the person you're becoming. So, when you pull all of these lessons together, they all point to one fundamental idea. If you think about your own life as a movie, a story that's being told every single day, then the only question that really matters is this one. Are you just playing a part that somebody else handed you? Or are you brave enough to pick up the pen and become the author of your own story?